Hi there. Uh, Sorry for the poor video quality. Hopefully, as the series goes on, I'll take care of that. So, welcome. This is the Japantree.com Kanji series. This is a video about a radical new approach to kanji in the classroom. Now, just to give you a little background, my name's Tori Tayo Johnson. People also call me Yakitori, and I am the author of Japantree.com, where I've done a lot of interviews with people that are involved with Japanese language, and I'm also a Japanese teacher. I teach high school Japanese at a school in Delray Beach, Florida, USA. But if you want to know more about me and that background of it, you can see that in my About page on my website. So today, what we're talking about is kanji, learning them. So it doesn't take long into your studies of Japanese to see that kanji is a big problem, and it doesn't take long being a teacher of Japanese to realize that teaching kanji is a big problem. The traditional method of that, which is the method that I learned it through the first time, is horrible. It's evil. So, yeah. But that's the method that most schools are using. The method is write this character 100 times, move on to the next character, and repeat for thousands of characters. It doesn't take much to make someone wonder, is there a better way? But that's been the tradition, so that's always been what people have done. Then enter Heisig, backwards into Japanese. So in his book, Remembering the Kanji, Heisig talks about his experience of how he came upon his method. While his method is good, I'm working on improving that method to make it classroom ready, and that's what this series is about. So I hope you'll see the value in the new methodology that this series is striving to bring. Now, to give you a brief overview of Heisig, like I said, he stepped backwards into Japanese. He, without having any background in Japanese, ended up in a language school in Japan and ended up there after class already started, and so he decided to start studying, self-study on his own, and he started learning the characters using mnemonics just to learn the meanings and the writing of the characters. And according to his introduction, that's the legend of how he came upon his method. So whatever else was involved with that, the method and his refining of it, you have to admit that that was a pretty big out-of-the-box moment. Thomas Kuhn-like scientific structures of scientific revolutions, his book, that paradigm shift, the thinking outside the box. Basically, Heisig had no background in Japanese, so he found something that Japanese and Chinese for hundreds of years of teaching characters hadn't thought of. So it's pretty awesome. Basically, the method, to give it in a nutshell, you can learn more about that somewhere else, but we'll be looking at it more in the series, but to give you a quick thing about it, the method takes characters starting out with the simplest and using mnemonics, remembering each component of the character separately, and then building up to more complex characters using those pieces that are elements of the larger character. Using mnemonics, a person can make stories, use imagery. Through imaginative memory, they can remember the parts of a kanji, remember what it looks like, remember how to write it, remember the meaning. So he separates meaning and writing from readings of the kanji, how to pronounce the kanji. The reason why this was revolutionary and was awesome, he explains also in his introduction, and that's because it turns the foreigner who's coming to learn Japanese into Chinese. Chinese students, when they begin to learn Japanese, they already know how to write the characters and they know the meaning of the characters, although sometimes those differ between Chinese and Japanese a little bit. Now, I know the advantage of this from my own studies in Chinese. I'm 5 years into those studies, and from the beginning, knowing already how to read the character, or knowing already what the meaning of the character was and how to write the character was a huge, huge advantage in learning Chinese. So it makes sense to turn your students into Chinese students and then teach them how to read the characters. So Hasig was a genius, and his method is genius. But there are problems with Hasig. So some people have already begun building on these problems, supplementing, doing different things, and so from Hasig we have other things that have come up. And along those lines, that's where I'm trying to move things to. So, problems with Hasig. One, they're not in the best order. It's supposed to go from simplest element to more complex elements, but sometimes you're seeing characters where you haven't learned all the complementary elements and not in the best order for remembering everything. So that's one problem. The other problem is there's too many kanji. He's using all of the Joyo kanji, and some of the Joyo kanji aren't that important. Also, there's some fairly mediocre mnemonics, and also some primitives that are not pieces of kanji that are not the best meanings, or not the most traditional etymological meanings of that piece. So if you have a better meaning for that piece, you can make better mnemonics. The Chinese language is amazing in its logic. They really had stories already in each character. Each character was telling a sort of story. So if the mnemonics can be very simple, it makes things better. And if the mnemonics can be catchy, it makes things better. So enter KanjiDamage, website called KanjiDamage.com, who went about putting them into a better order, even than Hasig's. Stripping down unnecessary kanji, so that you're down to 1,700 essential kanji. And then making some very simple mnemonics. Now, the problem with both Hasig and KanjiDamage is that they're not classroom friendly. KanjiDamage isn't classroom friendly because, honestly, I can't use that in the classroom because of the craziness of the mnemonics that he has. There's some other problems with KanjiDamage too, in that some of the primitives that he uses are just he makes up stuff instead of using primitives that could be just as good, that are close to the original meaning of the primitive of the part. So about the problem with Hasig not being classroom friendly, Hasig puts this out there as one of the big problems of using his book in connection with classroom study. So the main problem with that is that the order of the kanji directly relates to the efficiency with which you can learn them. So if you don't learn the kanji in the order of Hasig or KanjiDamage, if you don't start with the easiest pieces and move up into more complex pieces by adding in components, then you damage the effect that the methodology has. So no textbooks are written in remembering the kanji order, Hasig's order. No, there are no books, reading materials written in remembering the kanji order. So in a traditional classroom, the order in which the kanji are learned basically in a random order, or possibly in a Joyo order, the Joyo kanji order that's set by the Japanese government for children learning kanji, Japanese children learning kanji. So because of this problem of order of the kanji, Hasig basically said that his method couldn't be used in the classroom. But I think it's possible, and that's what the mission of this series is about, and this kanji method that I'm in the middle of creating. So my solution to that is to rework his methods, improving on primitives and mnemonics, to create classroom appropriate and classroom friendly kanji method. Something that's not just for self-study. And I'm testing this currently with my own students. So in order to make this work, there was the need to make worksheets using remembering the kanji order, and also having things on one page as an improvement over KanjiDamage, having each character as its own page. Also, there's a need for study materials that are highlighted by kanji level of the remembering the kanji stages. So once you know 300 characters, what their meaning is, now you can read this material, blah, blah, blah. Also creating textbooks that are in the same kanji order. So that's something that is part of this series, the process of this series. So what are the goals? So the goal is very simply, in the 30 seconds that we have left here, is to start a revolution in kanji acquisition in classrooms. A revolution in the way kanji are taught. So I want every non-native teacher to teach kanji using this better order, and to teach kanji so that they can get their students to be like Chinese students. They're coming in to learning the kanji readings, already knowing the meaning and how to write them. So if our students learn faster and better, that'll force change. That'll force the use of remembering the kanji and like materials in the classroom. So I have planned to do some awesome things with kanji, so subscribe and stay tuned. Thank you. This was Japan Tree Kanji Series #1.